what does it mean to chase a dream? Not a simple dream, not a regular, every night dream that appears on the big screen of your mind. I'm talking a big dream, an audacious dream, a calling.
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
Chasing a dream demands courage.
You got to keep your wits. You got to watch what's going on. There's slow cars, fast cars, so you never know what's going to happen.
Enduring adversity and hard work.
The car was not designed to do much of anything other than, be a muscle car from point A to point B. And so to take a car like this and turn it into an endurance car with the help of my team has really, really, really been something that I'm pretty proud of.
Gut-wrenching work.
We came in, got everything prepped, and went out for the first practice lap and blew up the motor.
So we're going to record for a new one.
Work that never seems to end, but you don't mind because you know where it leads. Attaining this dream is not easy.
Just bumper to bumper for the first few laps. Cars spinning out in front of me. Cars hitting each other.
Some have the courage to try it.
You never know who you're going to race against. You get real racers and you get people turning up just to figure out how to race. It's unbelievable.
Fewer have the guts to withstand the fight.
It only takes about 15 minutes to figure out who are the people you can play with and who are the people you stay the hell away from.
If you could make it through, the view is spectacular.
Every lap, you're either passing someone or getting past. There's action everywhere.
The feeling of achievement is like no other.
Whenever we can take it to a big V8 car, especially in the corners, it's where we have a lot of fun.
Most importantly of all, you know what it means to chase a dream.
This reminds me of what it was like racing in the 50s. It's not commercialized, it's just real people getting out doing some real racing.
Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Chase for the race, race for the chase. In Shelton, Washington, the signs of spring have at long last taken hold. After a few months of mostly slate gray skies and lots of rain, the best season of the Pacific Northwest has finally arrived. This weekend, 72 racing teams and over 200 drivers have arisen from their long winter hibernation to gather at the Ridge Motorsports Park, located 68 miles southwest of Seattle, for the Lucky Dog Racing League Podium at the Ridge, a high-octane festival of speed featuring 14 hours of endurance road racing.
Lucky Dog Racing is really about budget amateur racing.
It's still real racing, still real race cars, still real racetracks.
But it's a place to come and safely learn your racecraft while meeting all kinds of other teams that are at various levels.
The Lucky Dog Racing League was born to bring racing to the people with competitive, safe, and affordable wheel-to-wheel road racing.
A Lucky Dog car is basically a mass production car that needs to be at least 15 years old. This helps to make the series very approachable from a financial standpoint.
And we like to think of ourselves as a green sport because we are recycling cars.
The Lucky Dog Racing League races on celebrated bucket list tracks, including WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, Thunderhill Raceway Park, Willow Springs, and Portland International Raceway.
Lucky Dog's great. I love the fact that people can build their cars how they want them. They can run what they want.
The rules, they're open enough for anyone can come into the series, whether you have a slow car or fast car. That's what I like about Lucky Dog.
You get out there with 70, 80 cars, bumper to bumper racing. Every lap, you're either passing someone or you're getting passed. There's action everywhere. It's amazing.
You're not using duct tape during a Lucky Dog event. Yeah, you're not doing a Lucky Dog event.
For the Bare Bones Racing Team, this is their first race weekend of the year.
Bare Bones Racing is a collective of team members that come from the Pacific Northwest. We have team members from Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia and Canada.
The team consists of drivers David Fosberg, Craig Merrill, Brent Reno, and Chris Foreman. Nate Morse will be handling pit and mechanical duties. They are racing a well-worn 1994 Mazda Miata known as Half Pint.
This being our first race of the season, we've had a long winter off. It's basically just kind of shake off the rust that kind of accumulated over the winter, get into the flow and get back into the groove of racing again.
Adjacent to the Bare Bones team, the Blue Cheetahs, Phil Frank, Jimmy Schauberg, Mike Bernath, and Brandon Fisher prepare their highly modified 1984 Ford Mustang.
Our first car was a Renault Alliance, and then we moved up to a Mustang.
It's the first race of the season for us. You know, we got some things we've done to the car over the winter, and we're out here trying to be reliable, consistent.
The Blue Mustang was given its name tongue-in-cheek.
Everyone thought we were always cheating, and so I'm like, hey, let's make a blue car and we'll call it the Blue Cheetahs.
Four years ago, we started Lucky Dog with the goal that this is an amateur race series. A broad range of cars, fast and slow, and the goal is always to make motorsports accessible. One of the ways that we accomplish this is with our strict no contact policy. You guys have all heard me talk about it before. If you do have contact, you're gonna come in and see me. It's an automatic 5-minute penalty. Second time, it's a 20-minute sit. This is a big racetrack. The cars are kind of small. You don't need to run into each other.
All right, I want you to go out there and have the time of your life today and a safe race. Thank you.
Immediately after the drivers' meeting, the Ridge Motorsports Park comes alive with 72 race cars taking to the track for a 40-minute qualifying session.
So you have fast cars, you've got slow cars, you've got new drivers, you have experienced drivers.
And you have folks that have never been in the car.
There are 3 classes of Lucky Dog racers. The C class for the slowest cars in the track, Honda Civics, Volkswagens, and Mazda RX-7. The B class for the intermediate runners, 4-cylinder BMWs, Nissans, and Mazda Miatas. And the A class for the Lucky Dog Hot Rods, Porsches, 6-cylinder BMWs, and V8 Mustangs. Lucky Dog officials will take the average of the team's lap times to determine which class they qualify in. The goal is to put each team in a class with light teams.
So we like to refer as we have Greyhounds racing Greyhounds and Chihuahuas racing Chihuahuas.
Halfway through the qualifying session, the Blue Cheetah's Mustang develops a race-jeopardizing mechanical problem.
We're having some fuel cell issues. The car's cornering so well now, the internal baffle is broke loose. It's covering up the input of the fuel pump. We've got about 18 gallons of capacity and we're only able to use 12.
Now that we have to pit almost every hour, that's going to move us from 3 pits up to about 5 or 6.
The more time spent in the pits, the more time lost to the competition on the track. The team has no choice but to make several more time-robbing fueling pit stops than their competition.
Yeah, I'm frustrated, because without this fuel problem, we're competing for the win.
Drivers in the car! Let's go! Drivers in the car!
The Blue Cheetahs qualified their Mustang in the A class, where they will be racing the fastest cars on the track, including Porsches and BMWs. Barebones Racing qualified in the B class. Their competition includes Volkswagens, Hondas, and other Mazda Miatas.
Class B cars are, smaller, lighter, less horsepower. So we're looking for a class win, not necessarily overall.
Jimmy Schallberg will be behind the wheel of the Blue Cheetah Mustang at the start of the race.
The car was not designed to do much of anything other than, be a muscle car from point A to point B. And so to take a car like this and turn it into an endurance car with the help of my team has really been something that I'm pretty proud of.
David Fosberg will start the race in the driver's seat of the Barebones Racing Miata Half Pint.
I'm ready. My crew's ready. The car's running great. We got 80 other cars out here. We got sunshine in the Pacific Northwest. What could be better?
For the next 7 hours, over 200 drivers will be thumbing their noses to speed limits and making their racing dreams come true.
We're going to drop the green and hope for the best.
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
Beginning of the race, just keep it clean.
You got to keep your wits. You got to watch what's going on. There's slow cars, fast cars, so you never know what's going to happen.
Keep the car on the track, keep putting laps down, don't make contact with other cars.
The Ridge Motorsports Park is a thrilling 2.47-mile long road course with 16 turns and more than 300 feet of elevation gain and loss per lap, including the 50-foot plunge down the Ridge complex that literally looks like it drops from nowhere.
It's got the best of several different tracks around the country that are all put into one.
The multiple blind corners and elevation changes throughout the course absolutely inspire a driver. The front straight makes you wish for another gear and even more horsepower. Respect is demanded at the braking zones and the corners.
Love racing the Ridge. It's a nice wide course. It's a driver's course. A lot of speed, a lot of room to work. It's a fun track.
The Ridge has a number of high-speed sweepers that mesh perfectly with the straights.
Beautiful wide track, so you can just abuse the circuit in the sense of wherever the other cars are, you can just be somewhere else. You've got all the grip in the world. You can just make your own lines when you need it.
All in all, the Ridge is a full adrenaline rush and the Pacific Northwest's premier motorsports destination.
It's a challenging, driver-motivated track. You've got to keep your wits about you at all times.
In the right hands, almost every car on the track today is capable of winning the race.
Without sounding corny, the turtle and the hare completely applies to budget endurance racing.
To finish first, you first have to finish. So, having a strategy to survive an endurance road race driving a 15-year-old car is critical.
A car that is kept stock, that may be a slower Miata that runs all day long with a very consistent, smart pit strategy, usually will win and beat a car that is higher horsepower or even better drivers. Just because the reliability factor tends to be challenged the more that they do to their car.
Within an hour into the race, the Blue Cheetahs have motored up to third place overall.
The strategy today is see how long we can go in the stints before we start running out of fuel. I mean, that's what it's all about. We're not going to be able to make it all the way to the 2-hour stint limit based on our fuel, but we're going to go as deep as we can, try and keep the car on track as long as possible.
However, their success is short-lived when they are forced to make the first of their additional pit stop. Next on Chasin Racin.
In your first stint out there, you don't know who you're going to be coming up against. So you have to be cognizant of 360 degrees around you, and you have to be aware of what's going on in every situation. You've got to give it 110% of your concentration.
We came in, got everything prepped, and went out for the first practice lap and blew up the motor.
So we're going to the record for a new one.
We're not going to win the race in the first stint. This is a marathon. We don't want to be in the paddock broken down because we got hit or had contact with another car.
Without this fuel problem, we're competing for the win. You know, we're right up there for a top spot.
Next on Chasin Racin.